Well, anti-ICE rhetoric was front and center at the Grammys with a Supreme Court justice, there she is, even applauding the remarks. Liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson attended this star-studded event after being nominated for Best Audiobook. Jackson did not win that award. Now, Miranda Devine's latest New York Post column writes, using the same rulebook Democrats have used in their prolonged attacks on conservative-leaning justices, Jackson should recuse herself from all immigration cases due to her enthusiastic involvement in the anti-ICE Grammys. You know, Harris, by the left's own standards, Clarence Thomas needs to step aside because of a vacation, and Justice Samuel Alito needs to step aside because of his wife's flag outside her home. But I have not heard anything about Ketanji Brown Jackson.
No, and I mean, this really tells you how tight that circle is, right? I mean, that is a liberal room. Can you imagine? And when we talk about this a lot, being conservative in Hollywood, when Tyler Perry bought the military base that I was born on in Atlanta, I thought, gosh, too bad it couldn't have been somebody who'd be different, who would produce differently, who wouldn't be part of that liberal sect, who wouldn't fall. But I mean, with her there, I guess it's top to bottom. It's government. It's across the board. Liberals want to be famous. They want to be with the rich and famous. They want to be with the celebrities. I think there needs to be more parity, and not just around the idea of faith, which we are seeing some of, but Hollywood needs some pressure now to include all voices. And the Grammys and the Oscars, it can't just be one voice all the time and all these platform speeches. Jelly Roll gave a beautiful moment. Nonpartisan, he said, doesn't matter who you are, just worship Jesus. He was eviscerated for that.
You know, Rosanna, sometimes listening can be better than speaking. And Miranda Devine discovered something very interesting. And I just think about Justice Clarence Thomas, who I'm very fond of his opinions. And for many years, he never asked a question in oral arguments. He just sat and he listened and he took it in. Well, Ketanji Brown Jackson took the opposite approach. Here's the data. In the 2025 Supreme Court term, for instance, Jackson spoke more than 76,000 words in oral arguments. She's the newest justice, I'd remind everyone. Jackson was twice as voluble as the other 5 justices who spoke an average of 32,000 words, and her fellow liberal females were the next most talkative after Jackson, 50,000 words, Sotomayor, 49,000. Kagan. It's just interesting. You're the newest justice and you talk the most.
Some people like to hear themselves speak, okay? And obviously Justice Jackson does. Listen, if appearances matter for one person, they should matter for everyone. I don't know about you. I'm getting tired of watching these shows. I don't want to be lectured. I want to be entertained. I'm dreading the Super Bowl. I love the Super Bowl halftime. I don't want to be lectured even in Spanish. Let's see what happens.
You know, another point
you
about...
may not get your wish.
Another point about Jackson, Emily, I just want to remind everyone, Amy Coney Barrett is a very civil member of the court. She's very, you know, she's the one conservative justice who may defect from the others, much like Roberts. But she took an opportunity to really strike Jackson in a way that many observed was very personal. She said in a majority opinion, "We will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, and not to mention the Constitution itself." Wow, shots fired.
And Justice Thomas weighed in on one of her dissents and called it stereotyping and empowering elite decision makers under the guise of equity. So essentially that's sort of a collegiate criticism that we're seeing that I think sort of highlights, frankly, the lack of intellectual prowess, but also the fact that she's an activist. And it's not just with her actual decisions, but it's how she tries to frame them. It's presenting her arguments for them that is so deeply troubling. And it's not just about clapping for ICE. It's the entire wealth and breadth of her behavior and her jurisprudence, albeit small because she's so young comparatively, that causes so much trouble in my mind about it. And yes, the double standard, I mean, it's not even talked about by the left wing, let alone their shock and horror that the other conservative justices have had to undergo.
Bill, and there's no doubt in my mind that several immigration-related cases will make its way to the courts. And to have a camera moment where you're applauding some of these ICE comments, it really calls it a...
Not a good look. I did a deep dive on this, all of 3 minutes. I didn't know that she was nominated. I didn't know you just read a book and win a Grammy. Barack Obama was nominated 3 times. He won twice. Bill Clinton was nominated 4 times. He won twice. George Bush, 41, was nominated as well. Biden, no. George Bush, 43, no. Donald Trump, no. I digress. I think recusals are more common than we know. There was a case in June of last year where 5 justices recused themselves because they had a conflict of interest with a publisher. So it does happen. I think with regard to your question, if these immigration cases come before the court, especially as they pertain to the Department of Homeland Security or ICE, because it's so red hot as an issue right now, I find it highly unlikely that she would take the step to recuse herself from a case like that.
Yeah, I can't wait to look at your list last year because I'm the one saying Melania for an Oscar. And with that, let's trigger the left. All right.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.